We continue live right here at Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani and Gene Collier with you until 11 o'clock. All you have to do is call us at 412-575-2600. That is the number on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. Pirates are in action tonight, leading Milwaukee 5-4 in the 7th inning of that game. But I want to talk about Tampa Bay. Went up 3-1, winning again in Boston. This one in overtime 4-3. Dan Girardi got the goal that won it in OT, but there was a Brad Marchand moment in this game. And I forgot to turn off my cell phone. That's my wife, Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
So you want to talk to Lisa, Gene? I know. So anyway, we've seen Brad Marchand do this, and now he did it again. He got into a little scrum with Ryan Callahan, Gene, and he, as they got close to each other, licked him right in the face. That's why I said 2 minutes for licking. It was tongue on cheek. It was whatever you want to say it was, but what do you think of this? Now, I remember Sean Livingston, who blew in the ear of LeBron James. Do you remember that?
No, I don't watch the NBA.
Okay, the NBA, he blew right in his ear. What's your take on this?
I don't like it. I think it's strange. And,
it is strange.
It's very strange and not something I think hockey players ought to be doing. It's unsanitary.
It is unsanitary, yes.
So I object, but, you know, on the other hand, let freedom ring. Let the NHL figure out what they're going to do with this. Maybe they'll form a committee on player licking.
There's no rules that say you can't lick. That's one thing we found out tonight. Let's go to John in Lawrenceville. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
We're good, thanks.
We're all from Pittsburgh, and the Wilson has a habit of doing dirty hits. We all know this. The first hit, I thought it was clean. Most people in Pittsburgh disagree. The second one was blatant because you could see his skates leave the ice.
After
the first
impact,
one, his
yes,
skates were like on the ice, and he was trying to protect himself. And I mean, naturally, that's what you're going to do, especially when you got a Ovechkin coming at you as well.
All right, what's your point? Your point is what? That Tom Wilson deserved a 3-game suspension?
I think the refs called it right. He should have got suspended for
the refs called it wrong. The refs didn't call anything. There were no penalties on either of those infractions.
Yeah, but I don't think the first one was an infraction. I think the second one definitely was an infraction.
Well, they didn't call penalties on either, is what I'm saying. You said the refs got it right. They didn't call anything.
Well, the refs got it wrong, but the league got it right.
Okay, thank you. Do you agree with that, Gene?
Well, there was not a penalty on either call. The off-ice officials, the league officials in the buildings in both cases said it was the right call. And then the next day, the league said, we're suspending you for 3 games. Now, how does it...
I was surprised by that after everybody said there that night, the people who were in charge, the supervisors. Then you heard a lot of the people who are sort of the old guard Canadian people on national television say, hey, it's just a hit. Unfortunate what happened with the hit. I didn't expect 3 games. I can tell you that.
A league official said that the second hit was just a good, clean hit. 24 hours later, the guy's suspended for 3 games. I mean, this can only happen.
This is also why Nicholas Backstrom, as he left the ice, said basically F the NHL. That was corroborated by a lot of other people there, but you know, and I'm sure that was in direct reference to Tom Wilson being suspended for 3 games. And quite frankly, in my view, a lot of people don't think he's a pretty good hockey player. He's a decent hockey player. He's on the first line for a reason. He has 9 points, and he gives Ovechkin open ice.
I mean, I didn't think the NHL had any grounds to suspend him after what they said about each hit. Then they did, and I was really surprised it was a 3-gamer. I thought it would be a 1-game suspension at most, and I thought that would be hard to justify. Yeah. And then they suspend him for at least, half the series or.
Well, they brought in his history, which is fine. If you do that, normally it carries a little bit more weight. So, but 3 games was a little surprising to me too. Wow. Let's go to John in Hampton. Hey, John, how are you?
Hi, Bob and Gene. Have you seen the Steelers' schedule this year?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the NFC South they placed. Carolina, Tampa Bay, the Saints, and Atlanta.
Right.
The way I figure it, they split those games. That's 2 losses. They play the AFC West, which is another split. That's 4 losses.
Okay.
They play Jacksonville and New England. That's 6 losses.
Boy, you give them no credit for winning anything here.
Wait a minute.
They're on 6 so far.
This past year, we did well and we swept our division. I don't see us doing that. So that's 8 losses.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Well, that's the end of that, then.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. 10-6 will be their best record. That's the way I feel.
Because why? Because
of the teams they're playing. Atlanta.
So you have nothing. I was gonna. If you're saying this, you're saying the Steelers are not as good as other teams. Tell me why you don't think they're as good as other teams.
Because of the defense.
Okay, that makes sense.
And you know, I don't know how they're going to work it. It may work out with the draft picks, you know, but the safeties, say more or less.
Middle linebackers, inside
right.
linebackers, they don't have a lot. Thanks, appreciate that. So he broke it down and came up with 8 losses, which he
8
gave.
losses, and they'll finish 10-6.
6.
That's going to be a trick, I'll tell you.
That is. It's too early for me to come up with that assessment because I still don't know how their
Why
team.
is it too early, Bob? It's May.
It's
I mean,
May.
the season starts in 3 months. Come on, get on top of your game.
What's your prediction? 4-5-7-5-2600. So the Pirates now have lost 8 in a row on the road. They're trying to end that streak tonight as they're playing in Milwaukee. Had a 5-1 lead on an inside the park home run by Starling Marte. You don't see many of those. And he got one off a bad bounce. It got away from Lorenzo Cain. And Kristen Yelich, however, changed that. So it's 5-4 now late in the game. But, Gene, overall, when they play better competition, it seems to me that the bats go silent. When the bats awaken, it's against teams that they should actually do that against. So far, everything's made sense to me from what I've seen out of their 17-15 start.
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates, have played very well given what they've got, and they've got a lot of problems. And a big problem continues to be, the way Starling Marte plays in center field. He has no idea what he's doing out there. He had a play tonight where there's a runner on second, and he's playing the next hitter deep,
Right.
and here's a single, and he kind of lollygags up to it because he figures there's no way they're going to send that guy home. And then, the way he approaches that ball allows the Brewers to send the runner home. Then he picks it up and overthrows the cutoff man. He really has no idea how to play center field.
No, he doesn't. He's made 3 errors out there already. That's early in the
terrible.
season for that. That's not on a pace that you would want for a guy who's won a Gold Glove before in left field. So
that's a miracle. And he led the league in winning the Gold Glove in outfield assists. And considering all the wrong bases he throws to, that's quite an accomplishment.
Let's go to Pete in Squirrel Hill. Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Hey, gentlemen, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
Hey, Bob, the current state of the NHL and everything, and rightfully so, trying to eliminate headshots because concussions are brutal. But I would assume most of your viewers and call-ins are people under 50 years of age. Remind them, if you would, the brutality of the sport, Bob, going back to the days of the original 6, when no one wore a helmet and goalies didn't wear masks.
Right.
Actually, the game is nowhere near as vicious and ferocious as it used to be, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
I think you're right. I think it was. I remember going to games which featured brawls, bench clearing. Gene, we had bench clearing brawls just about every other game, it seemed, at the time.
Yeah.
Remember how long it took to decipher all the penalties, and you'd end up with everyone coincidentally is, but there'd be 10 penalties on one team, 10 on another.
But the human race, at a very slow rate, does evolve, and we got away from that because it was completely stupid. So you're right in the sense that it was more brutal, back in the day. A phrase that I absolutely hate. But you're forgetting that today's player is much bigger and much faster, and when he hits you in the head, it's a lot worse than it was 40 years ago.
We have Seth and Carrick who wants to comment about Brad Marchand. Seth, hang on. You'll do that when we come back from a commercial break. We'll take it right now live here on Pittsburgh CW.